show. And today we have one of my dearest friends over the years, Zoe Davenport, who's a multi-dimensional channel speaker, writer, divine oracle, and spiritual mentor, and so many other things. And I'm going to let her explain what she's done and how she's doing it now, because I'm finding, y'all, that so many people are activating even more wisdom and capacity within themselves, that these descriptions are just a small drop of what's becoming available. And that for me is such a beautiful indication of what's possible in all of us as we keep expanding and we navigate in these resonant fields, you and I together, to lift each other up, to demonstrate what's possible and our potential and how we're becoming that. So it's going to be an amazing conversation talking about spiritual ascension. So we're going to talk about clarity, breaking free, activating your truth. And y'all, part of activating your truth, we're going to get into taking live calls. And Zoe's going to go in and you're going to get laser focused insights that are going to ignite you. And I'm going to challenge y'all to really ask questions that are deep beyond the surface. That's a challenge. We won't have to go there, but I'm curious what else is running the show and what is waiting to be ignited within you. So again, we're going to have so much fun on today's call. It's going to be amazing. Sit back, enjoy. And with that, Zoe, welcome to today's call. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
And
Hi, everyone. What a pleasure.
so Zoe, let's start off with the awareness of what you're having, of how your work is expanding and how, okay, I get that you call yourself a multidimensional channel, and yeah, you're a speaker and divine oracle and spiritual mentor. What does that mean today?
I would say that, as you were sharing before, John, these kind of titles and labels are such a drop in the ocean compared to our capacity of what we have access to as we continue this journey of inner standing and opening our hearts and seeing what's available for us. And you've known me a long time, and I have definitely gone through these different variations of titles. And this has probably been one of my biggest personal blocks, is to, what do I do and what do I call myself? And so in this present moment, even hearing those kind of labels and titles, like it doesn't feel that it's as necessary as it perhaps was a few years ago. And this is for all of us. And it is good to have some type of title, I guess, so that people can have some type of connection or awareness. But it's really about how people feel in your presence. It's how they feel when they hear your words. It's how they feel when you're working with them. It's how they feel when you're showing up, or in your writings or your videos. So in this present moment for me, I'm finding less and less attachment to particular titles, and I'm not surprised if those titles will evolve again in a couple of months or so. And right now in particular, there has been, I was sharing this with my community today when I was inviting them back to come and join us. It feels like, for me, it's like this arrow that's got kind of pulled backwards slightly, but it's kind of got stuck hanging around at that backwards trajectory before it's really launching forwards. And sometimes in that backward motion, it can be really discombobulating to the mind, because the mind wants to know purpose. It wants to know clarity. It wants to have schedules. It wants to have dates. It wants to have the known knowingness of the future. And when we're kind of pulled back and we kind of find ourselves in these past thoughts and these past experiences, perhaps like resurfacing again, it can be kind of what's the word, kind of messy for the mind to try and figure out, well, hang on, I thought I dealt with this, or I thought I had gone through these things, and there's not even that much connection to the presence or the stillness. And so this experience right now, this year in particular, and I'm speaking to a lot of people about this, is we don't know what's happening. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what's kind of happening in terms of moving forward, yet deep down we do know what's happening because we feel it. And that's the piece that we have to trust over the mind, is feeling our way through the next navigation, feeling our way through the next opening or the next invitation. And something I've experienced, particularly in the last 4 to 6 months, is the more that I am practicing that stillness and presence and not trying to future project too much and not trying to hold on too much to what was and to what is and any of my expectations, there's kind of clues in the external reality that start to guide me, almost like the little kind of synchronistic breadcrumbs start to open up, but it's guiding in a direction that I could not have thought of, but I feel it. And that's the kind of the guiding piece is really listening to the heart, but paying attention when those little intuitive nudges come in and then taking action on it. And that's the piece that cripples most in fear, is the fear of taking action, the fear of moving forwards on that feeling. So it's been a really interesting journey, and something that I've been sharing a lot with my clients as well, as, you know, again, back to the mind trying to make sense of everything. When we're stepping out of the familiar third dimensional structures of what we've known, we are stepping slightly out of these time-space experiences, which is non-linear. So things are going to feel a little bit like an unput together jigsaw puzzle. We don't quite have the picture yet. And the trust piece of that can be incredibly frustrating, because the mind wants to just know what to do already. And it's an interesting journey for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you're bringing up in reference to this also, because that future, you know, wanting to know what's coming next, wanting to know an outcome, having a plan of where we're heading, there actually really is that. Because if we're planning on living with more awareness of how we're creating our lives, if we're planning on living on not just sustaining, but thriving in an environment that's asking us to change so that that environment can be created, we're aware where we're going. And part of the anxiety that comes in is that we have to be present, that we have to be still and be in the whatever's coming up now, and not having the escape mechanism of where it's going to land tomorrow, because it can distract. And it was beautiful to plan and to create that way, but I really believe that because of the stillness that we're being asked in the present moments, and to be with what is rather than what it might become, it's co-regulating our nervous system. We're functioning from a place where we can be much more grounded with what we have and use those as the tools for creation into the future. So it's amazing what's coming through, and how the not knowing is actually the deepest knowing simultaneous, because we have to be with what is.
Mm. And that's kind of one of the biggest gifts of these experiences is, you know, we want to have these more expansive timelines. We want to upgrade our health and our wellness and our abundance and our relationships. We want to be of service. We want to connect to our divine purpose, and sometimes that can still be holding on to the material expectations of self, and with that can create a lot of overwhelm and disconnect to what is truly present and showing up for us in those moments. And the surrendering into what is present is, ironically, as you were sharing, John, what does catapult us forward and creates that. And collectively and globally, I feel that not you and me, but just most of us have been having this same conversation for over 10 years. The energies and the shifts and the planet, and the planet is always going to be shifting. Humanity is always going to be shifting. There's 7 billion people on this planet. There's always going to be this kind of push-pull energy. And I feel sometimes a lot can get very wrapped up in this sense of running out of time, or this expectation of time. And time is one of the illusions that keeps us trapped in that third dimensional consciousness. So if we want to free ourselves from this perspective that we are stuck, it's to free our expectations of time And we free ourselves of expectations of time by letting go of any expectations of where we thought we would be, or how much work we've done from the past, or where we thought we should be in the future, or what we should be doing now to create that. And that is that kind of, there's that sweet spot in that space of just taking that breath that allows something new to open up, because our minds can manifest all we want, and it can hold on to our to-do lists of manifestation and our expectations of ourselves. And also, thank you, we can hold on to things that other people have told us about ourselves from 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And that can also be holding us back, because we may have evolved since those original downloads or messages or channeled pieces of information. And so we always want to be refreshing and revitalizing our physical vessels to see what the newness is that wants to come through, and what that new pathway looks like, and what that new timeline looks like and feels like. And that opens up for us through not by trying to control it or manifesting it, but feeling into what's present and allowing ourselves to just come back a bit. Because when we're consciously creating in the present moment, when we're consciously connecting to the breath, when we're consciously embodied in our body, that higher timeline exists for us with less efforting, less doing, and more being and more awareness of that. And I'm not saying to not do anything, but I'm just trying to give a physical example. I think years ago, I had a very clear message of a particular partner I was going to meet. And I could tell you what they looked like, what they did in the job, the country they were in, where they grew up, et cetera, et cetera. And then I wasn't physically meeting them. And I was like, well, hang on, like I'm pretty accurate with my psychic awarenesses. And I realized that I was holding on to the perspective of what I only knew. And I did this ceremony to surrender this expectation of what I was holding on to. And I said to Spirit, you know, the person that I'm actually meant to meet right now, that is to evolve my soul, because that's primarily what a lot of relationships and connections are, is to evolve our souls. And I think it was within 2 days that person came in, like straight away. And this is the power that we have, and the potency and the richness and the deliciousness that opens up for us when we can just really regulate the nervous system, let go of these expectations, let go of these kind of belief systems around needing to be doing more. And I feel most of the time when I'm working with my clients, I'm helping them to deprogram and deconstruct a lot of the martyr kind of systems that are still in their nervous system, that it's like this frantic energy. And actually, when we're more in peace and more in stillness, we have so much more capacity to serve others. We have so much more capacity to love. We have so much more capacity to receive.
What also comes through, Zoe, is that we're in a time that being immersed in these conversations is wonderful. It sparks and it liberates and it opens parts of us that are ready to receive. When we're in a coherent field that stimulates the remembrance, that stimulates the permission to remember, if you will, also. And something that's happening much more profoundly that I'm aware of, and I know you're experiencing this, and we're going to get into live calls, y'all. So we're going to get into the laser focus insights, and that's going to evolve from there as well. And by the way, Zoe's special offer is a one-on-one session with her. It's super special offer. We'll get into it later. It's rare to be able to work with her in this way at this price. So just a heads up. But there's an embodiment piece that's coming through as well. There's one thing going beyond, hey, I understand this on a contextual level, and I can read it and it makes sense to me. There's a surrendering into the truth that is profound right now in ways that I haven't experienced before, where with whatever is not aligned with that truth, not just in the present moment, but in the history of my beingness, of my experience in this world, in the history of any future creations that I was putting my energy into, that's also seeking alignment. What's your take on that refinement that is happening right now? Again, that goes beyond the mind and our creation in the way that we had been accustomed to for so long.
Yeah, I feel a lot of it has got to do with uh the humaning, the humanness of our experience. And what I've witnessed over the years is there was such a thirst and a hunger for these kind of out of body, multidimensional, cosmic, astral traveling experiences. And I'm not saying that I don't personally still have these, or most of us, and they're great because we are receiving lots of information, but there's an embodiment practice that has to start taking place for us to really be in the humaning of this experience as well. And I've spoken to a lot of people around this where there's um, sometimes a sense of feeling, or maybe I'm not as connected to the divine as I was before. I'm not receiving as many messages or downloads. And actually, what I see is there's a period, and I've witnessed this with my own journey over the last like 10, 15 years, where there's periods where we're meant to be in this very expansive, very connected, very multidimensional journey. And then there's periods where we're meant to be really in the humaning. And the humaning can feel slightly dull and slightly boring after these more expansive experiences. And the idea is to allow the same amount of passion and enthusiasm and excitement for the humaning as much as those other journeys that we have. Because this journey, being fully embodied in the body, regulated nervous system, being more present, is how we can show up and do some really deep soul work on this planet. And I've kind of shifted over the years where I did a lot of planetary grid work. I was doing a lot of traveling, opening up lots of portals, working with different kind of beings from all over the world. And there's many people still doing that planetary grid work, but that's not what's needed from my soul at this time anymore. There's a lot of people doing that. And so also just being willing to, shift and evolve with what is coming through for us at this time. And particularly I found in the last year, there's a real deep need and desire, and also thank you, also joy that I felt of really being in the humanness. And these have this kind of like willingness to fully be here has created so much more change on the physical level than years before, where I was perhaps trying it, but it was from more of that kind of out of body state. And so, yes, we have to be here, unfortunately, but we do
have to be here.
Fortunately.
And I fortunately, oh my God, the beauty that's becoming available is absolutely incredible. I had an experience over the last few weeks that I felt very grounded in such a way that it's like, where did my connection go? It's like, I'm so, and there was amazing energies and communication that was coming through me through what I would call ascended master beings, through a collective that was just, it was an opening like I haven't experienced in a really long time, even though I've always felt connected. But I felt disconnected from that. It's like, that's so interesting. It shut down. I wasn't worried. It was just different. And it was 4 days ago, I sat down just in the evening in a quiet meditation and just was really still. I just asked the questions like, well, what's happening in this phase? And I heard so beautifully that it's important that we realize what we've accumulated in our wisdom, what we carry within already. That connection is always going to be there, but we need to acknowledge who we are and who we have become along the way. And that sovereignty of just being in our own field and being able to guide, to choose, to share, to receive from that place was so important. And it quickly came to be. It's like, this is a stage of awareness, of personal empowerment from that very solitary space that's so beautiful. You know who you are as a human, and you need to acknowledge that. And more's coming. It hasn't gone anyway, but it is part of an initiation. It is part of a remembering. It is part of being recognized of who you've become. And to have the honor that someone would let go as you've taken the training wheels off and that you're allowed to pedal on your own for a while, how much trust do our guides and the divine have in us to navigate in such a way? It was absolutely profound.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've been having very, very similar experiences. And then there's that kind of like moment of uncertainty of like, well, did I drop my frequency? Am I
Yeah.
low vibes now?
Am I
Like
hanging
what's
around the
what's
wrong
going on?
people? Was I at the airport too long? But yeah, it's
Yeah, exactly. Was it the pastel de nata I ate? Like what, what's happening?
the Mercury
And
retrograde, the
yeah,
solstice, whatever energies.
yeah, exactly. And the trust piece is so important when it comes to that, because it really allows you to come into your own, to come into your personal power, and to come into your knowingness. We have three brains in the body, which is the gut, the heart, and the mind. And as we activate all three of these parts, and feeling grounded in the body, and feeling grounded to the cosmos, and feeling grounded to the earth, the information comes through us, not beyond us, at a cellular level. It's all here. We are infinitely connected to all things at all times, past, present, and future. And the more that we remember that about ourselves and our cells, it becomes more of a joyful dance and playfulness of how to navigate it through the physical vessel. It's like, trading in the Ford Focus from 1999 and walking out of a Porsche. Like this is
Hmm.
the access that we have when we really take care of our bodies and we mindfully want to be here. And John, I see this so often over the years, and I worked with thousands of clients at this point around the same kind of theme of really not wanting to be in the body.
Hmm.
And part of that is to do with PTSD and trauma. And also part of it is a deep sadness of not believing that the life can be so loving and joyful in this physical vessel. And I'm always calling that out, because deep down,
Hmm.
when we've like uncovered it and pulled back the layers of the onion, we do want to be here really, but we've just believed that we perhaps can't. And I think also there's so much information in the world that is specifically designed and engineered by the best mind psychics of the planet to make you feel that you are less than, that that it's too much for you in this reality. And turn off social media, turn off the news, turn off the TV, go for a walk in nature, and nature will open that heart. It will balance you and ground you and bring you back into stillness. And this is the same for all of us. Is like we want to constantly be checking in with the nervous system and constantly checking in with how we feel. And it's not always possible to run away into the woods. I mean, I personally love just escaping into the jungle for a few months a year, but sometimes I have to come out and be in busy cities, and it can be incredibly overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be. We can have an amazing experience on this planet. We can have an amazing experience in our bodies. We can have an amazing experience to the divine and our guides and our higher selves. We can have an amazing experience on this awakening journey. And guarantee, if you were to feel into who you were now compared to who you were 10 years ago, it's unrecognizable. We're evolving and shifting whether we like it or not. It's happening with us all the time.
Well, I think that's part of the spin and the chaos also is so we can look at these we can call them these things that want to detract us and put us in a state of chaos. But we also have to be aware that opening up to such divinity, to such light, such amplification can be extremely chaotic and disorienting as well. And for me, it's all an initiation and it's all really a calling of empowerment of as we wobble in either direction, it's like coming back into our field, coming back into what is it that I want to create and how can I take the wisdom that I've acquired along the way, who I am now, and remember and navigate that river of consciousness in whichever direction it's going expertly with the mastery that I've accumulated up to now. Because y'all, if we're breathing, and we're on these calls right now, we've come a long way.
Mhm.
Truly, truly, that you have access, the worst fears of the world blowing apart, of you being, severely impoverished, because something got taken away, completely controlled, um, to such a place that you would lose all faculties of support. None of those fears have come to pass if you're on this call. They just haven't. So when can we choose to trust who we
Mm.
are, to trust the support that we have, to trust that we've been growing, to trust that our choice matters? And again, how powerful creators we are. It's amazing. And I mean, look who's on the call with us about to do live readings. Um, as you raise your hands, if you choose to ask a question or type your question into the chat box, I mean, how much support is available to us that perhaps it's time to have gratitude for it instead of saying that it doesn't exist. Really acknowledge what's here as opposed to focusing on what you believe isn't here. Um, there's just so much becoming available. And again, standing in awareness of all of it, I think is paramount, because that really calls us to be present, like we started the call, Zoe. The call to be present. And I know you have some tools that you share with people, like there's some specific processes, um, and they're clear steps for people to really connect to their true self. And before we get into those steps, I feel like I want to go through some live callers and then share this particular kind of like checklist. I know it's much more than that, but this cheat guide, which is really an awakening guide, um, on the call. So would you be open if we shared this later? I know we'll probably get into channel transmission later. I wouldn't be surprised if light language comes through, but we're open. We're open. Um, but I'm guided to start taking some Q&A. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Amazing. I can
awesome.
see everyone, and hi everyone.
All
Hmm.
right, here we go. So Andrew, it's been forever since I've seen you. Welcome to the call.
Well, I've been traveling around, moving around, going from Toronto to Mumbai, and now I'm in Switzerland.
Amazing.
Uh, Huge transitions, going in the unknown. Um, Still like, well, I'm just, lots been happening, a
Mm,
lot of transition, and it's nice to finally get a chance to meet you, Zoe. You're a
Hmm.
lot better in person than in your picture, I might say. So,
Well, it's animated.
yes.
mm.
Now I'm 3D. The pictures are 2D. I've upgraded.
Yes, I think it's really amazing what you're talking about. At one point, I was thinking it's like unpeeling the onion, getting to the root, and then you mentioned the onion right then and there, and it's like we're on the same wavelength. I like because I've been over 3.5 years ago, I was in an accident. I'm near the tail end of my recovery, just a few more minor things. And I feel like I'm going into something completely different. And I'm just wondering what can help me transition a bit better. I do find meditation helps because beginning of the year I went to Vipassana to help me with getting clear from the energy of India that brought all this chaos into my energy field. And if anything special comes up, because last weekend was my birthday as well, um,
Mm.
uh, and anything special comes up, or if there's anything that you can recommend, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so what was coming through was creative play and not being afraid to kind of put pen to paper was the message that I was getting. And so with that, and this is a great exercise for everyone, by the way, when you're kind of in a transitional period, you're not sure what you want to do, you're kind of feeling things coming through, and you know that you're preparing yourself. And I call that kind of preparing ourselves through the crazy roller coaster of life that we have in these leading up to these massive kind of timeline shifts and changes that we're going to have. So creative play is getting some great big pieces of paper and whatever your choice, maybe some coloring pens or some paint or some glitter and some glue and some magazines and some scissors. Just kind of get yourself a little like 6-year-old playful setup, and then just have fun with putting different colors, different words. Maybe you cut some kind of inspiring things out of magazines. Maybe you kind of write some affirmations. But the idea is not to make it look pretty. It's just to allow that kind of child aspect of you to connect more deeply to your imagination, because this is something that a lot of people forget when it comes to connecting more to your future self. That future timeline of alignment is the creative play, the creative imagination. So that's a really good first step for you. And then second to that, I was getting through to do some work around the pain body somatically. So I don't know if you've ever done any kind of shaking, but a really great exercise is to put some kind of quite beating music on in the background, and maybe even just do this for like 5 to 10 minutes a day to start, and just kind of stand with your feet hip width apart and your feet facing forward. Thank you. That's really important, because sometimes when people have their feet facing in opposite directions, they're going in opposite directions in their life. So you want to have it moving forward, and then just start allowing your body to shake and move. And then maybe you kind of lift your heels up and slam them down a little, lift them up, slam them down, and just allowing your body to shake. And that will help to release some of the residual kind of energy attachment that's still kind of like in the tissues. And so, you know, I used to say there's massage therapy issues in your tissues. So we want to just kind of like shake that out, much like when, you know, a cat gets scared or an animal gets scared, they kind of like give a shake. And so those two things for you, I think, would be a good first step in what is next. And then don't be afraid as well to ask of yourself, through yourself, of your higher self, what abundant, nourishing, delightful, expansive, amazing, incredible things do I get to do moving forwards? I am so excited as to what these things are going to be, but you don't have to know what it is. And so starting almost like that future prayer gratitude. Thank you so much for giving me the information, higher self. I'm so blessed for this experience. I'm so excited. I'm so grounded. Show me what I need to do to prepare. Show me what I need to do to get ready. So this one's really strong, actually, for a lot of us, and myself included, for the reminder. Thank you very much. Is setting that intention that it's already known within your cells, within your nervous system. So there's 3 tools for you.
Beautiful.
And for anyone else listening.
All right. Blessings, Andrew. Andrew, are you getting out into nature and jumping in the lakes in Switzerland?
Well, I've been walking around, not so much jumping into the lakes yet, but I really need to, because I'm in a nice hot area.
Nice.
But it's like enjoying, like, because I'm Canadian Swiss and I have family in this area, and just enjoying myself being in Switzerland. I feel so grounded. I'm just like, it's just amazing energy for me. So
Beautiful. Enjoy. Thanks for sharing.
thank you.
Energy in your residence from Switzerland. Blessings to you. Good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's continue. Let's go now to Sonia. Sonia, welcome to the call. You're muted, Sonia. We can't hear you. It says you're unmuted, so I'm not sure what's happening.
You hear me now?
We can hear you. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Sonia.
Hi, Zoe. Hi, John. Thank you for that valuable tip. Yes, so I guess I was just wondering, Zoe and John, I'm just kind of looking for some insight into how I can pay closer attention and develop my intuition, as well as see the signs that I'm being given. And I know I'm missing some signs. I'm always asking the universe to make it obvious, because I know that the subtle signs aren't resonating with me, and just looking for some direction in terms of where to go next as a light worker,
Mm.
If you were to pull anything out of a hat of where you feel you would be going, what would it be? If you were to just make it up in this moment.
I really love the idea of becoming like a Reiki healer. I work as a reading specialist with in an impoverished neighborhood, and I want to figure out how to infuse that with the kids I touch every day, but also for my own family. And there is a lot of generational trauma that I'm aware of that I'd like to work through for them, being that I'm pretty much like the rock of my family, and you know, I feel like there's a lot of responsibility that I have.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you want to study something that's going to give you the tools. Sorry, John keeps kicking people in and out or something, so I keep losing where you are. Hang on. Where are you on the screen? Okay, you're over here now. Sorry, John. I was like, where's she gone? Okay, here you go. So yeah, it's quite common to want to do some type of healing modality, and Reiki is certainly a great introductory kind of course to open up doorways to other things that you would like to do, and it's still a great modality that you can use for years to come. And as you kind of refine your skill set, don't be surprised if the energy that starts flowing through you is maybe different from the Reiki that you would have originally studied. But it is definitely a really, really great kind of stepping stone to then feel more grounded and feel more that there's like a skill set that you can use. So it sounds to me like you've asked these questions, but you already know the answer to it. So that's why I asked you, what do you feel intuitively? And I feel that that would be a good first step for you, but with the awareness that you are never going to stop learning, and that it's kind of great to kind of make a decision in one direction. And then with that, what tends to happen is there's a little side door that opens up of something else that you couldn't have thought of in this present moment, because you had to make a decision to move forward on what you feel. And this is what I was talking about earlier with John, is sometimes we're so crippled with indecision, and we're waiting for these massive lightning bolts from the sky to smack us in the face to go, this is it. But you also have free will. And so if this is a feeling that you're having, much as I was saying at the beginning of this conversation with John, is to trust in the feeling and not let the mind get in the way of that. So, but it does, when you said that, it felt very light, it felt very joyful, it felt like it would give like a boost of confidence. And with that, I feel that there's going to be a little side door open up of a thought process, or something's going to come in through that journey. And it may be through the practitioner that you meet, that you do the training with. It may be someone that you meet on the course, but not to expect that. So, but it does feel like a good first step for you, for sure. I'm getting kind of green lights for that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And
Enjoy.
I'd recommend a reading with a session with Zoe. We'll get into that a little bit later. I want to offer something here, and I want to give a lot of space for Zoe, y'all. I don't mean to interrupt. It's coming through so strongly, and it's empowering for all of us. Sonia, something that you're asking how to connect and how to have that channel come through in different ways, right? And by the way, congratulations and thank you for the service work that you're doing. Truly, it's such a service, and it's uplifting. And I would invite you to take it to the next level of when you go in and when you leave, to really see the abundance that's there. And I feel that you already do that in certain ways, but I want you to kick it up a notch. How much is already in perfection rather than what needs to be saved? How much we can take the light that's there and amplify that, so whatever's in the shadow finds its way through the nooks that it's created for itself to be in that light. And then I would highly recommend for everybody on this call who wants to deepen their connection, find time every day, at least 5 minutes. I highly recommend 12 minutes. to be in total silence. In other words, don't listen to anybody guiding you. Don't listen to music. Environmental noises are going to come up. That's just part of it, and that's fine. But really the intention of just being in total silence. And as a thought comes into the mind, the only thing you have to say is, I am here now. To skip that thought. And something that was taught to me as you're sitting in meditation, if you have your palms up on your lap, flip your left hand over to interrupt the thought as well. I'm here now. And let I'm here now in silence be the only connection that you need. And with that, I will guarantee you that your connection to the inner voice, to your higher self, to your guides will be amplified exponentially. I absolutely guarantee it. So I wanted to offer that to everybody on the call. It's been profound for me. And again, it's just, I know where it can open. All right, Sonia, thank you so much again. Blessings. All right, let's continue with another caller. We'll get into the special offer again, the private session with Zoe here in a little bit. But Christina, I'm guided to call on you. Welcome to the call.
Hello, good day, good evening,
Hi.
everyone.
Hello.
Well, first time I'm seeing Zoe, so I'm connecting for the first time with her energy. And what I was guided, because the talk you were having before about the trust, I received the guidance to, if I will be picked to ask my question, I will surrender to my soul, not my mind. So I will surrender to my soul so Zoe can have a message for me as well, through me, for the collective we are here. So I will just leave it to source and my spirit for this message.
I love that. I'm also going to invite you to have a question and let yourself receive what you would like to receive from this experience. It's very humble to kind of surrender up your question slot time to a bigger cause. But I invite you to feel into your heart of what you would love to ask for yourself as well, and take up the space and allow yourself to take up that space. Yes, selfless.
Be selfish in your selflessness.
Well, I'm working to humbleness, so by passing my arrogance. So
I don't believe you. I think you're already humble. I don't believe you for a
Yeah.
second. Anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, me too.
So what question would you have, Christina, for you?
Wow. I don't like to go in private things, even if I'm working a lot on myself and through my journey. But yes, let's go with the soul aspect. What kind of soul aspects of me wants to come ahead and integrate or connect or shed an aspect or something like that?
Okay. So the first thing I see when I'm tuning into your field, and I keep getting this message over and over again, like heart healing, working more with the heart, working more with heart opening. And there's just, when I'm tuning into it, there's like this kind of, there's a little sorrow in the heart of feeling that you had to hold back slightly in this life. And what I'm getting is you go through this heart healing journey. And so I'll give you a really great tool for this, is set yourself up in an intentional space for 21 days that you're going to spend 10 to 20 minutes every day, really focusing on connecting to the heart, breathing through the heart, visualizing that heart opening and expanding beyond any pain, any sadness, any suffering, any experiences of the past that have kind of like had that heart slightly kind of close or shut down. I'm seeing you buying yourself a beautiful bouquet of flowers, working with flower essences, particularly Oh, this is interesting. Lavender, geranium, and rosemary will be 3 really good essences for you to be working with. And I really love actually putting a little drop on my wrists and then taking deep inhalations and then placing them
I
on the
have
third
it
eye
usually.
and the heart.
Nice.
Great.
This is, yeah, and I'm
Amazing.
using and doing that, yeah.
Amazing. But heart healing, heart healing, heart healing, heart healing. And there's something that's going to unlock with the repetition of the practice over this 21 days for you. So will you promise to do that for your heart?
Always, I will give my full attention to my heart, always.
Okay, perfect. Because I feel that there is, and the message I keep hearing is there is many treasures that await beyond the opening of the heart. The opening of the heart is just the beginning for you, and there's many treasures to be explored and received for you through this practice. Yeah, I'm getting like goosebumps when I'm sharing that. So yeah, there's something for you in the, and most of us think our hearts are open, and then we really have our hearts open. We're like, oh, okay, they weren't open. And I've gone through this many times, and I feel like, oh, my heart's pretty open. No, it hasn't been. And then it opens, and it's like, oh wow, this is like that open
This
heart.
is it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I've got this. This is okay. So yeah, so that'll be a beautiful practice for you for 21 days.
Zoe,
Thank you so much.
Zoe, can we do something? Christina, can we do something together?
Of course,
I love
I'm
the of
open.
course. So in honor into the intention of which Christina asked her original question, because Christina, I see you as a capacity of holding this beautiful space for larger containers, which is why that collective question, I think you have an awareness about it. And I know that as we surrender to receive even more for ourselves, our capacity for that gets even larger. It just does. We become more empowered in our holding. So Christina, if you agree to it, Zoe, would you tune in with Christina, and based on their shared resonance, is there a transmission that you can share for the group today?
Yeah, of course, always.
Beautiful. So
Okay.
Christina, thank you for inspiring this and for
Beautiful.
holding the space for it.
Sure. Okay, so just when you're all ready, just closing your eyes and taking some cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Releasing sounds and ahs, breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the mouth. Good. One more time. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the mouth. And then just placing one hand on the heart and one hand on your sacral. And then breathing in through your nose into your heart. And then breathing out through your nose. Breathing into your heart. Breathing out through your nose. And just carrying on with this intentional breath, breathing in, breathing out. And with your hand, you may feel that subtle beat of the heart. And noticing if it starts to slow down slightly as you slow your breath down. And just bringing all of yourself here into this present moment, into your body, into the awareness of the heart space. Feeling the soles of your feet connecting to the earth below you. And in your mind's eye, almost imagining the beat of your heart coming into vibrational resonance to the beat of the earth, the heartbeat of Mother Gaia. And if you were to imagine this sound, this beating of this heart energy field, what would it sound like? Keep focusing on your breath. And imagining your heart slowly starting to open up, imagining the beautiful rose gold energy in the center of the heart. And just feeling this opening and expanding out from your chest and all the way around you. And just feeling through your breath the sensation of love, gratitude, and joy from the heart. Feeling this connection to the electromagnetic frequencies that expands within you and all around you. Feeling the presence and stillness of this moment as you connect breath to heart and heart to the body, body to the earth. Feeling this beautiful chamber, this portal activating within you in the center of your chest. And allowing yourself to feel this vibration, this beating heart sensation. Deepening those inhalations and exhalations. Creating even more spaciousness within the heart through the breath as you imagine yourself opening up, expanding even greater. Imagining having the capacity to love unconditionally. Connecting to the universal wisdom within your heart, the emotional truth of your heart. Connected to your past, present, and future versions of yourself, of your timeline. Connecting to your higher self, all of the divine frequencies of light that are within you, of you, and all around you. Continuing to breathe. Receiving this transmission of you, of your breath, of your vitality, of your energetic field, opening up, expanding. Connecting you to the infinite wisdom of the cosmos. Expanding beyond any pain, any suffering, any fear-based programs, any limitations, any lack, any control in the mind, bringing the focus into the heart and through the heart. Breathing in and breathing out, gifting yourself this space, this moment, this presence. Yetarako shandari kiandarakova. Isofo yetareti amoko satarena kuku yetatamasa. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. And just feeling all of this love that's been activated, remembered, reawakened within your heart. Sending this down into the earth, into the crystalline core of Gaia now. And imagining this love vibration of energy expanding through all of the grid systems of the earth, reaching all of the humans, all of the animals, all the beings that are living here. And expanding this frequency of intentional joy and gratitude out through the cosmos, out through all of the timelines, the different dimensional frequencies, sending this encodement of your divine signature, your divine unique version of you, holding that frequency within your heart around you, breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. When you're ready, just slowly opening your eyes, just noticing how you feel. Feels brighter.
Y'all, welcome back. Christina, thank you for holding the space for that.
That's amazing.
For initiating
I could
that.
see the codes, light language in the field when you were starting using the light language. And we're kind of, through my field, I sense them kind of anchoring to the earth down was amazing. And through the entire kind of went beside the airplane. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Zoe, for that
Thank you.
transmission. Where's your Joey? Should we get into Joey? Oh my God, I'm still coming back. Zoe.
Sure.
Joey. What do you think? Should we go into the special offer or should we take another caller real quick?
I'm going to let you decide.
I was asking you. Okay. Derek, let's get you to unmute your microphone. And y'all, we're gonna get to a special offer in a second. Y'all can start opening to link to that. Chris has put that in the chat box. I want y'all to have an opportunity to really tap into the opportunity of going one-on-one with Zoe. It's really quite spectacular. But again, we're gonna go there in a minute. And we're gonna take more Q&A afterwards. But with that, Derek, what is your question for Zoe?
First, I just want to thank both of you all for this amazing call and that transmission. It brought tears to my eyes. And most of my questions have been answered just being connected with this call, which shows me how interconnected we all are already. And when we come with the intention of opening up, how it just strengthens that connection. So thank you both for that. But my specific question is kind of related to others, but I've been trained in Reiki and angelic Reiki, and I practice these things, but I feel like something else is trying to come through me, and I don't even have a definition of what it is or what to study to help open that up, because I don't think it's really been brought, not to sound egotistical, but brought to this planet before. Like something new is birthing within me through my energy and maybe some galactic energies or something. And how would I expand on that and tap into that and really understand, what's going on inside me and how to pursue that, if that makes any sense at all?
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. And this is much like what I was sharing with Sonia earlier. Sonia, was that? Yeah, that was right.
Sonia. That's correct.
Sonia. And as we develop our energetic connection, it is quite normal that different abilities start to be activated within us. And quite often there's not necessarily a specific healing modality that's been brought on the planet yet, because it's kind of our connection to the divine and how we're able to channel different frequencies of energy. And the deeper capacity we have to channel energy through us is directly related to how much work we've been doing on ourselves and how much embodiment that we've been going through, and how we're able to best hold our physical vessels in a space of receptivity. And the one important thing with this is the nervous system regulation, because I feel sometimes when we're opening up to these different energies, it can feel a little erratic and chaotic, and it can feel kind of like quite skitsy, if that's if I don't know if you guys say that in America. We use it in England when it's like not quite formed. And so what was coming through with this is one, thank you, don't be afraid to go a little bit further into those edges where you start to feel uncomfortable when the energy starts coming through. I feel like there's kind of like a natural stream of consciousness that you start tapping into with the connection to your higher self. And my sense is when I'm tapping into you is you kind of like shut it down, because the mind gets in the way of trying to figure out, but what does this mean? What is this called? How do I share this with others? And it's all, and it kind of like stops that connection. So allow yourself to play with the different energies as they want to come through you. And don't be afraid to practice on a daily basis and set an intentional space every day. I'm going to practice at being me. I'm going to practice at connecting in. I'm going to practice at allowing universal energy flow to come through me. And I'll be the first one to put my hand up. I'm the worst academic ever with studying other people's healing modalities. Like I think it was about 10 years ago, I did a Shambhala multidimensional healing practice. It was a 4-day intensive one-on-one Actually, it was longer than 10 years ago. At some time, many lifetimes ago. And what was happening when she was trying to attune me is I was already attuned. Like the energy was already there. And in fact, the energy was already there. And as I was reading through the books, trying to kind of practice all the symbols, all these other symbols were coming through instead. And it was quite challenging for me because the mind was like, yeah, but you've studied this particular healing modality, but there was these other energies. And so what I did was allowed myself to experiment with this kind of name of Shambhala multidimensional healing, but equally allowed myself to experiment with these deeper frequencies that were coming through, because it felt like it was truthful to the existing kind of training that I had done. And so I feel like this is kind of like this crossroads of where you're at right now, is once you've started to kind of go down this road of energy, things do start to be reawakened within you at a cellular level. So don't worry about what it needs to be called, whether it's been brought to this planet before. That's all kind of mind stuff, and creates expectation. It also creates like separation from you just playing right now, because it's just all energy, right? Well, really, you know, you can call it Reiki, you can call it this, you can call it that. We're just opening up to different levels of consciousness, and we're allowing ourselves to connect in different ways. And so thank you. When you're feeling this energy come through, regulate your nervous system with your breath, because sometimes it can feel a bit ungrounding, because, you know, your hands want to be going all over here and you're like seeing all these things coming in, and it's like a, you know, firework light show and everything. Just do it through the breath. So allow the breath to regulate, and allow the body to show you what the breath is needed for the energy as it's coming through. So, you know, yes, there's breath work, but allow your body to allow yourself to breathe intuitively. How does it feel when I'm working with the energy, when I'm breathing in twice through the nose and out through the mouth? Your body will know. And this is the same for all of you when we're tapping into energy. I feel most times, you know, we start to kind of like really open up this flow of energy, and it's like, oh, I'm not sure what that is, so let's stop. Actually, it's great to push yourself beyond I don't really like the word push, but like expand yourself beyond those spaces that you perhaps haven't gone before. And that is part of going beyond the ordinary.
Yeah. And that's part of that chaos.
Drop there.
That's part of the chaos. Again, we can feel the chaos of the past as what's dismantling, but there's the chaos of the newness also.
Yeah.
And they all have a very similar feel to it, except one's going backwards into what we're graduating from, and the other one's like, oh my God, it's like, what is that? And it's throwing me off, but they feel very similar in the confusion. But again, stepping into that and being with it, it's like, yeah, blessings to you, brother. Congratulations. And how wonderful. Oh my God, how exciting that spirit wants to play with you in that way, that it's chosen you to play with, that you're having this very intimate experience that nobody else around you is having. Like, God, can we just cherish that instead of thinking that there's something wrong with us? It's just quite the opposite. There's just something so beautiful that's being acknowledged, and let's celebrate that uniqueness. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else, but my God, my ex-wife didn't make sense to my mother, but she grew on her, right? It's just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, other than you're aware of what's coming through and how beautiful. And I love your transmission for all of us, Zoe. Thank you for that. Derek, blessings on you, what's opening through you. All right, we're going to do more Q&A. We've got to get into the special offer. This is, y'all, Zoe doesn't offer sessions like this, like one-off sessions. It's not a thing that's available. And at this price point, it's not a thing that's available. And Zoe loves this on BTO. But she recognizes y'all also. And so the opportunity to go deep with such expansion, I believe, and I'm stuffing words in your mouth, but I'm just going to do it out there. Y'all are doing your work. You have a consciousness that I know I want to play with and expand into. And I hear it from speaker after speaker after speaker. My God, the people that tune into your show they're
Mhm.
just in a whole nother frequency in so many different ways. So this special offer is a reflection of where I know Zoe can meet you and beyond. So if y'all have clicked on the link, I hope that you have. It's in the chat box. If you haven't, open up a new browser if you can't find the link and type in beyondtheordinaryshow.com Zoe 33, and it'll take you to that very same page. And Zoe, let everybody know the opportunity that they have to work with you.
Yeah, so as John was saying, I have only opened this up to the the BTO community. And so it is once or twice a year that I open these up. This will be the last time this year that I'll be opening up private sessions that you get to work with me one-on-one. And with this, you also have access to the Quantum Tools library and meditations. And there's also some other transmissions in there as well. And they've all been beautifully recorded with all the audios are clean, the very high res, very beautiful music that's connected as well. And there's some really great like 5 to 10 minute like tune-ups, I like to call them, when you're kind of feeling like you need to ground or you need some clarity or your kind of wheels are spinning. There's some really great like short impactful journeys in there just to kind of get back into alignment, and off you go with the day. So there's not this sense of like, oh my gosh, I need to do this like 5-hour breath work experience. Sometimes you just need like a little tune up. So that's part of the special offer that you'll have access to as well, and that's yours to keep for infinity and beyond. And the private session will open up the space energetically. We'll create a very clean channel of energy connecting into your higher self and clearing any distortions, any field, and really stepping into your emotional field, your physical field, your spiritual field, your past self, present self, future self, higher self, and we can go together in this exploration. They work 1 in 2 ways. Sometimes I start getting information for a client straight away, and so I'll bring through what I'm seeing, and then I'll leave space for questions at the end. Or sometimes I'll be guided to ask questions first, and that kind of sets the theme of the session. And the idea is to give you clarity, give you more certainty and direction to move forward, give you some tips and some tools that is going to help navigate on this path, and really uncover some, sometimes people come to me and they've been holding on to stuff for like 20 years, and in these sessions we can like unpack that and really give you a new grounds to work on, to build those stronger spiritual foundational roots. And then with the extra of the meditation library, then you've got access to continued growth and learning within that package as well. And then I record all the sessions and send them to you. So if you resonate, then it would be lovely to have you join us for a session. And there is a kind of a cap with the sessions, but we'll see how I go with the schedule. But I have opened up quite a lot of space for yours. So yeah, I'm excited
This is
to meet
amazing,
you.
y'all. Again, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It's, if we were to break down what Zoe charges per hour, it would be about $800, but it's really in the $10,000 coaching packages, so it's not even available. To have the opportunity to work in this container with her, just zooming in, is really quite extraordinary. And then to receive these supporting libraries, the meditation and quantum tool libraries, the Golden Heart 90-minute recorded transmission, the Golden Heart activation, and the Path of the Feminine, the 60-minute record transmission, the quantum tools and meditations. It's all written on the special offer page, all that for $197. It's a gift that I hope you guys have the opportunity to take advantage of. So wonderful. Thank you for the generosity in putting this together, Zoe. And
Yeah,
for
my pleasure.
in this way.
Yeah.
And it's with that I want to continue some more Q&A. So let's go. I always forget how to pronounce your name, and I apologize. Renaya? You'll have to say it from come on. Yes.
Ryania.
Right. That doesn't come out of my mouth.
Ra.
Welcome to
That
the
was
call.
Ra. Ra.
Ra. Perfect.
We are going
Wait.
So,
Wait, say it one more time for me, please.
Rayania.
Rayania. Okay,
Yeah.
my Latino tongue doesn't go that way naturally, but welcome. What's your question for Zoe today?
Yeah, thank you, John. Zoe, you look gorgeous. You look so
Oh, thank you. It's so great to
Uh,
see you.
yeah, great to see you. I'm so excited. I couldn't stop smiling as soon as I come
I
on.
know, I could see. We hung out in when's the last time I saw you? You were in Bath last year, a year ago.
Yes, in Portugal. So I moved to Portugal, and I think that's also since then. And that's part of my
Oh,
question.
wait, you're in Portugal?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
we need to
wow.
chat after the show. I'm
And
in
Renalia,
Portugal.
she was in my house a year ago, y'all. So it was awesome. Just synchronicity just dropped her
Oh,
in.
I love
So,
it.
yeah.
I love it.
Magic of life. So my question, many will resonate. I feel like I was submerged to water for a while to really clear another layers of programs. And I feel I'm ready for business in a way. I guess the question is that there's so much budding energy that want to come through, and I have so many ideas, like something to do here in person in Portugal, and a few projects to do online. And I feel I'm sort of like split among so many exciting ideas that I don't know where to start. So one day to the next, I was just like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Oh my God, it's so, juicy. So I would love to have some.
Okay. Yeah, I have a lot for you, and I'm also going to invite you to book a session as well, because then we can kind of we can expand this. But quite a common trait that I see in women in particular is we are the creators, right? We create life, we birth life, and with that creative flair, and I'm not saying that men don't have this, of course, men can be very incredibly creative, but just the way that we handle creativity is different to the way men handle creativity. When men have creativity flowing through them, they are more able to kind of focus on one thing at the time and do that one thing until it's complete. Whereas women, we love to have multiple things going on at the same time. And then we kind of struggle to laser in on one thing. And so that's why my mum was terrible for this. So she would start a project in the kitchen, and then she would go and do some art, and then she wouldn't finish the art, and then she would go and knock a wall down upstairs. So then the wall would be knocked down for 20 years. The art would be kind of half finished, and there would be electricity hanging from the ceiling. So she was probably one of my best teachers for the unhealthy divine feminine. And so when we're balanced and grounded and regulated in our nervous system, so this is step one for you, is balancing yourself, regulating your nervous system. Get yourself a great big massive piece of paper and go to town creatively, much like I was sharing with oh, my brain's gone, the gentleman earlier on, around just kind of putting all of your creative ideas down on a big piece of paper without any sense of kind of it needing to have any type of structure. Just get all the ideas down. Perhaps maybe you'll write some of the things, like, if I was to focus on this particular thing, what are some of the action steps that I would need to take to do that? Because once you've got it out, you can then look at it and you have a visual, I'm a visual learner, so you have a visual representation of the mind madness, like I like to call it. So you've created a creative piece of art out of the mind madness. And then from that, you can feel into energetically, you can almost do this with your hands, which one feels alive. What sensations do you get from each of the different projects? Don't worry about the mind. Don't worry about the thinking of, yeah, but this is going to take this much, or this is going to be this long. Don't worry about that for now. Just kind of feel into which one feels more alive for you. And then sit down and go into that in a bit more detail, kind of itemizing all the things and really feeling into, okay, so realistically, how long would this take for me to do? And could I put this into my schedule where it feels abundant, it feels joyful? It's also in alignment with my monthly cycle as well, based on how I'm going to feel throughout the month. And so those are kind of like some of the starting steps for you, because it is very common. And it's great. We want to have lots of creative ideas. You know, we want to do everything, but then we're crippled with indecision to move forward on anything. And I'm going to share this. And this is like the mantra. Focus on one thing and do it until it's done. Focus on one thing and do it until it's done. And start to implement this mantra into your everyday life. And so if you go to clean your bedroom, for example, focus on just cleaning the bedroom till it's done. Don't then start to go and make a tea or go onto Facebook or check your emails or go out for a walk. Learn the creative discipline of doing one thing and finishing it. One thing and then finishing it. And this is a great method to have creative projects actually created and finished out in the world. And it's challenging and it's not easy. And it's taken me, 15 years to really grasp this very simple, yet can be very complicated concept, is focus on one thing until it's done. But knowing which direction, it doesn't really matter which direction you go in, as long as it feels good to your nervous system, especially because if you're getting these kind of creative hits and things coming through you, chances are that you will eventually create all of it, but then maybe in the creation of one of the things, you may choose to focus on something else more, but you needed to start over here first. And I'm going to thank you. This is coming through as well. We are very contracted in our lives of time. And I was sharing this in deeper conversation with John at the beginning. We have this urgency with time, and this is part of this, I don't want to call it AI agenda, but part of this kind of physical agenda to keep us kind of trapped in this limitation of time. And so give more spaciousness to what it is that you're creating than you think you need. And so people overestimate what they think they can get done in a month or a year, and they underestimate what they can get done in a decade. And when you start to have that concept, you start to really zoom out to the spaciousness of life and also the spaciousness of time. And when you're present and your nervous system is regulated, you will create far more in a day than you had in an entire year, because you're focused and you know what it is of the steps, because you're doing one thing and you're finishing that thing until it's done. You're doing one thing and finishing that thing until it's done. So I'm excited to see what you create.
Zoe, there's a challenge that comes in here also. Because I get the concept of focusing on one thing until it's done. And it's also a sign of the times and how we're creating and remembering who we're creating with. And it's shown up through synchronicity for me and through a mirror of the power we really have of manifestation, but not from a psychic place, but really from a place of co-creation with the divine and what's on our path.
Yeah.
And so Rayanya, I think I said that right, I'm hoping. And Zoe, I know you go through this also. I think in this space, we all go through it. And just, for example, Courtney wants to create an album and wants to do things, but the songs aren't always coming through. Or I want to create a package, or there's something wants to come through, and there's start, stops. And then it's like, but now I've got something, where do I put it out? Or it's complete up to where it can be complete. It's like, where's the inspiration coming from afterwards? Because it comes in pieces, and the completion isn't always at once. But like you said, there can be 5-7 different creations that want to take place simultaneously.
Yeah, so that's a great question.
Well, and I want to land it in this also, because
and with that,
yeah, I want to land in this also, because with that also comes the finishing it to the point in which we're inspired to finish it until we can, and then letting it go to God without an expectation of what it's supposed to be. And there's a lot that's happening there where we're not making the manifestation of those things our source, but rather allow a momentum of energy and creativity to build, knowing that we've completed as far as we've been guided to and are aware of. And Zoe, please continue from that.
Yeah. So, and that's, yeah. So when you know what the thing is that you're doing and you have that creative inspiration, that's the time to kind of implement that, do one thing until it's done. But it's not necessarily that you can't have a few things happening at the same time, but it's to make sure that when you're focusing on the individual thing, that you're fully focused on that thing. You're not then energetically bouncing backwards in your mind. And then things come through as they're meant to come through. And it's also about creating the energetic space and time for things to continue flowing through, but without expectations of when it needs to be done as well. So then that's stepping out of that time constraint, you know, of like, oh, I want to do this thing in a month. Well, give yourself a year. So then there's no expectations on, you know, because quite often when we set an expectation of a limitation of time, life will absolutely 100% guaranteed bombard you with so much busyness that it will create a lot of disharmony in the nervous system, because you know the inner child is like, oh, I thought we were just going to create this thing for the month, and then the car broke down, and then the roof fell in, and then you know Aunt Jean down the road passed away, and like life will just suddenly become very like chaotic. Whereas give yourself an extended period of time, but with an awareness of, okay, I'm going to give myself a year, but that doesn't mean to then sit back and do nothing for a year. But a great tool with this is if there's something specific that you're not getting guidance on, or you've already started and it feels like there's an energetic kind of start that's happening, just set an intentional space every day to sit in silence and just feel into the energy of what it is that you're creating, not necessarily having to do the creation, because if something's not coming through, it's not coming through. You can't force creativity in that way, but just set a little intention every day to just feel the joy of this thing that you don't know you're creating, that it's finished. Feel the
Zoe,
joy
what I've
that
been
it's
doing,
done.
what I've been doing with the intention, and y'all, this is powerful. And I just want to recommend it to everybody. When you've taken as far as you can and you let it go with expectation, really reach out to your guides, reach out to source to go, if this is supposed to be, make it happen. And be audacious. And it's not even a request, it's the authority and the co-creation and how you're passing the baton back and forth.
Yeah.
And you can, and can you put that request and that authority out into the divine, because we're not creating in a silo, we're creating together. And as we put that out, can we sit and rest in faith that if it's for us, it's going to come, and we're going to be inspired to that next step. And if it's not for us, thank goodness, we'll be redirected into where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, because sometimes not everything is meant to be finished as well.
Right, exactly.
And that's really good to kind of be able to let go. So I wrote a book 5 years ago. I wrote 40,000 words. And then I didn't write again for like 3 years. And I really looked into this within myself, and it stopped me from writing anything else, because my belief system was I need to finish that before I can move on to anything else. And actually, when I really sat with it, what that was complete. I didn't even read it again. I actually deleted 40,000 words. And people think I'm crazy for doing this. Like, but you wrote a book. I'm like, whatever needed to come through me at the time does not need to be read by others. And that was the creative aspect. And so sometimes it's also can be really freeing and freeing up your creative, oh gosh, this is coming through, freeing up your creative debt and your expectations of things being finished in that way.
Beautiful.
Because it's like, then it allows you the, clear your debts basically, because it allows you the spaciousness. What's present now? What does your 6-year-old want to get their teeth stuck into? What feels really inspiring? What lights you up? And then guaranteed there's going to be more waves of that consciousness that get to flow through you. Oh, I love that, creative debt. Clear your creative debt. What are your expectations of your past
Amazing.
holding you back from your future? Okay, so this is the new book. I'm just gonna write this down. There we go. Thank you.
Naya,
Spirit.
thank you so much. It's wonderful seeing you
It's so
today
great to
and
see
for
you.
inspiring this conversation. Y'all, the link for the special offer for going deeper with Zoe, it's like being activated, peering into what's coming up in your potential and being activated and put into action. It's an incredible offer. Again, the link's in the chat box. Y'all take advantage of that. There's a 2-payment option on it as well, to make it as accessible as possible. I can't recommend it enough. And then the replay for today's call will be up all weekend. It'll be up in a couple of hours, and you'll be able to come back and listen and to receive the transmission. And with that, Zoe, we've got 3 minutes left on the call today. Can we have a short burst of a transmission coming through as the way to cap off today's beautiful call?
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful.
Of course. Yeah, just a big thank you to everyone for being here, and thank you to John. And I love these conversations. As I was saying to John earlier, like I don't open up the one-on-ones very often, so it's just such a delight to have your community in the space, and really is such a gift. So thank you. Okay, let's see what wants to come through. So again, just closing your eyes and maybe having the palms of your hands facing up towards the sky, soles of your feet on the ground, and just breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. And we ask for an acceleration of time, space to be expanded into this moment that we have together, to be reawakened, revitalized, activated to all of the juiciness, deliciousness, and beautiful insights, clarities, and messages that have come through in this time together, this conversation, all the questions that were answered. And may our capacity to receive more truth, more wisdom, more guidance be amplified tenfold, 1,000-fold through our open heart portals. May any messages, insights, downloads be known to us in the next coming days, weeks, and months with crystal clear vision and clarity, activated within our truth through the intuition, through our hearts, through our higher minds, our higher selves, a deeper state of embodiment, feeling our way through this physical reality. And may we call upon all divine and benevolent beings of light that are here for the highest truth, the highest wisdom, and the highest co-creation of this physical incarnation. And we lovingly command out of the space all energies, beings that are not here for the highest good to go home and evolve. We lovingly call out of the space any old soul karmic contracts and Akashic records that are not here to serve our highest good to be deleted and cancelled across all realities and versions of ourselves now. And so it is. And we ask to be reconnected to that inner truth, divine wisdom, to be always knowing the next steps. Even when we don't know the next steps, we know the preparations needed to get there. Reawakening our loving, blessed spaces for surrendering even more deeply to the divine flow and what's available for us, the highest available timeline. And all that is, may that be integrated at a cellular, atomic, and subatomic level. I'm calling through any transmissions of energy to activate this commanding statements now. Show me. Goriataramata ayatonoshotarenikita mosufu yendaremaka. Itaranako sandareni sufu yendaremata ayatorosufu yana. Rikato shandareni sufu yatarama. Ifandareki sufu yatarama. Take a deep breath in. And deep breath out through the mouth. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Beautiful. Give yourselves a big hug.
Thank you, Zoe. Big hugs to
Let yourself-
everybody. Thanks for
you
being
are
here.
loved.
Big hug to everybody. I look forward to seeing y'all on the next call. Bye, everybody.